What's going on, folks? This video will be about V-shaped recoveries in the stock market. How's it going, folks? Welcome back to another video. I will start off this video by showing you a chart of the S&P 500 to showcase V-shaped recoveries that have occurred in the S&P 500. I will scroll back to about 2020 to start off showing you. I'm going to zoom in to show you how the V-shaped recovery occurred starting from 2020 and how many times it has occurred from 2020 until 2026. Here's the V-shaped recovery that occurred in March of 2020. We got a sell-off from about 345 or 340 down to all the way about 225 in the S&P 500 and the SPY. And it rallied in a V-shaped fashion all the way back up to 350. And if you scroll over, it continued going. It continued rallying. So what I'm going to do now is scroll over to the next V-shape. These are mini V-shaped recoveries that have failed, that occurred in 2022, but we were in a bear market then. And then we finally got another minuscule V-shaped recovery at the end of 2023, as you can see, where it did a V-shaped recovery. And it continued going higher. It continued rallying higher and higher all the way to about 600 or so. So then we got another sell-off. We got another sell-off in 2025. And we got another V-shaped recovery, as you can see. We got another V-shaped recovery in 2025. And it continued rallying much higher. So now the next V-shaped recovery that we just received was in 2026. The S&P 500 went from 700 down to about 630, and it rallied back up to 700. Now it's at 745. What do you guys think is going to happen next? Obviously, I think what's going to happen next is that it's going to continue the V-shaped recovery pattern and do a continuation higher. So once the V-shaped recovery is in effect and it's actually not failing, then it's going to continue the market higher and have a continuation pattern all the way up for a bull market. I think that this is going to go back up to 800 on the SPY, and we'll see what happens if we get another sell-off then. But for now, I'd say the V-shaped recovery will continue the S&P 500 higher up to about 800 on the SPY. And here's a little quick breakdown of what a V-shaped recovery looks like on a fundamental level. It's after a big sell-off in the market into a bear market territory, like about 10% sell-off or more or less. And you will notice a reversal shooting star pattern or a engulfing bullish pattern happening at the bottom. And then you see a recovery. Once you see the recovery look like a V-shaped letter, you will notice that it's a V-shaped recovery. Once it gets to the top of the V, it continues higher and continues rallying much higher. And that is what the V-shaped reversal pattern looks like on a fundamental level. And last but not least, I'd like to just mention that this V-shaped recovery pattern that continues higher and higher after the V-shape has been confirmed usually only takes place in the S&P 500 because of high liquidity. A lot of institutions involved in the S&P 500, a lot of funds and funds of funds that purchase the S&P 500 make it continuously going higher. I wouldn't use this strategies primarily with many stocks or even Bitcoin or any other instruments, because the V-shaped continuation pattern that continues to keep going higher might not occur in other stocks. I do thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.